Okay. So, good day everyone. I am Valerie Hilario, and for the continuation of our topic for this night, which is the learning and development, we have methods of learning. So we already mentioned some methods of learning, but there are still many more. Dagan kay pa methods no na makatuon ta. So some are here. So first we have lectures and seminars. So this is a more formal setting often used in universities with a lecturer and students. The setting inhibits interaction. So I think most of us here have attended seminars, especially in those work related topics, especially kung tanong ka na nga certain seminar sakto kasi mo job description, so ikaw ang ipadala ni head, no? So sa seminar setting, di ba, as we observe, no? So what we have observed na magiging ka ng speaker and us the participants. So there are also some interactions happening, especially ka ng mga trainings or workshop na there's an involvement, you know. Then the second one is discussion groups. Here, highly interactive setting aimed at sharing viewpoints. Kumbaga, brainstorming. So, the next one is debate. It is highly interactive setting aimed at convincing others of one's viewpoint. We have two kinds of debate, no? The formal and informal. So the difference between a formal and informal argument is in the burden of proof. A formal argument clearly states the claim or position it argues and presents a well-developed chain of evidence leading to a reasonable conclusion supporting the claim. So the chain of evidence itself may include a wide variety of elements ranging from personal experience to statistical data and expert testimony. While the informal arguments contain little or no supported evidence. I think we can encounter this one, gaka-encounter natin siya sa itong daily lives, no? Pakiklalis lang to sa itong mga igsuon or sa mga usahay kauban sa office, no? Kung natay pagkasinabtan ni gamay na, but we have no evidence presented. Mag-ano lang siya ba. Then the next one is case study and projects. Here, this activity involves the participant and activates them to come up with solutions and answer. So here in this method, it is where we conduct thorough study and research, no? Then also we have experiential activities. Here, these involve activities participation and are often used in team buildings. These experiential activities works in 4 stages, and we called it Kolb's cycle of experiential learning. So the first one is concrete experience. In this stage, we need to try it out and see what happens. Okay, so the second one is reflective observation. Here, it analyzes the experience, view from multiple perspective. Then the next one is abstract conceptualization. It connects ideas linked to existing knowledge and understanding. Then we have here the active experimentation. It formulates hypotheses, plan action, and test it. So Kolb argues that effective learning is seen as the learner goes through the cycle, and that they can enter into the cycle at any time. Okay, so man siya experiential activities, no? So we have here role play. In In this method, a role is acted out or performed. For example, as a technique to train customer interactions. Then, another method is simulation and games. So, an increasingly popular and highly interactive way of experimental learning. With the rise of virtual and augmented reality, this can be made realistic. Job shadowing. So, working with another employee who has a different experience to learn from them. So this is a good way to learn and exchange ideas, no? Actually, this amo na ni siya nga try sa office kay our head ginatrain mi niya nga tun-an ang trabaho sa among ubang kauban kay in kaso nga kanang mag-leave sila, pwede ra to na mo malihok ang ilahang assigned task, no? Or panalitan na po yung mga clients or customer kasi sa mga organizations at teachers man gyud kung na sila kanang kinahanglan po sa mga makita ra po namo sila. So nice ni. These are some of the most common methods of learning in an organization. So there are, however, many others. So if you feel like we forgot an important one, feel free to mention them in our chat box and we'll add them. Okay? So, we have here learning and development effectiveness. So, one of the key themes when it comes to learning and development is learning effectiveness. So, a key question often asked to the learning and development professional is, the first one is, what is the return of learning? And the second one is, how effective are our learning programs? So, these questions are hard to answer. An image here shows that part of this dilemma, no? Makita na to sa image nga ang batanta mga manager siguro ni sila. So, ang isa, ang una nga taor, kantaas na lang, yang gipangutana. What if we train them and they leave? So, the second person, katong short, what if we don't and they stay? So, maglisod ta, no? Especially kaning sa pangutana sa taas, what if we train them and they leave? Kaya I think most of us here looking for greener pasture. Basta pag kabalo na ta ana nga work or butang ta gisaligando na ta, but if opportunity comes, ato man siyang grab, no? So sa second one, this is kaning medyo short, no? What if we don't and they stay? Example lang ni magnamog siya nahitabo sa ama po siguro, pero sige lang kuan siya kanang newly hired, then marag wala sila na agi og orientation, proper orientation, marag silbi turnover lang sa katong previous kato iyang gipulihan. Then ang nahitabo marag gasalig lang siya ato ihang previous nga gahandle or katong gahawid sa ihang nga posisyon. So walay proper orientation, and then dili man gud magkadima o ihang work, then dili pud siya gaka-promote kay iyang performance rating is ubos man. So narag siya sa iyang position pod. So dilemma gyud. So a method to evaluate learning effectiveness is Bloom's taxonomy. Benjamin Bloom edited the Taxonomy of Educational Objectives, the classification of education goals, which was later adopted by Paul in year 2000. So, Bloom's taxonomy often used to specify what level of information processing is relevant to do a job. For example, in training development and to evaluate learning effectiveness. So, if someone has to be able to create or synthesize knowledge, for example, sa academic writing paper na topic, then the approach to the mastering, the approach to mastering the relevant information will be different than if someone only needs to understand or apply the knowledge. So we have here the Bloom's taxonomy pyramid, no? The taxonomy captures different levels of information processing, starting at knowledge, kaning remember na to, team base, then knowledge recollection, going on to the comprehension or the understand stage, application, analysis, evaluation, and creation. So the synthesis of existing knowledge to create new knowledge. So the assumption here is that to analyze information, one needs to be able to remember it, understand it, and apply it, right? So the same holds true for work. So creating new and effective human resource compensation policies requires a different level of information processing than simple salary administration. So the training and experience required to create new policies versus understanding compensation and benefit ratios will therefore also be quite different. So, ano siya, no? So, we have here learning and development jobs. So, let's conclude this guide on learning and development with the different job roles that are part of the learning and development team. So, please note that the exact responsibility per role will differ between organizations. Lahi gid siya, no? So kanitong i-present karon, these are the typical learning and development jobs. That includes learning and development specialist and manager. So there is a specialist. It often occupies an operational role, focusing on analyzing learning needs, specifying role competencies, learning and development budget distribution, and providing learning advice to employees. Here, in the learning and development specialist, it excels at identifying the current and future skills requirement of an organization. And also it creates flexible learning interventions to meet the diverse needs of the workforce. So, while for the learning and development manager, it's focusing on analyzing learning needs at a higher level, specifying core organizational competencies, learning and development budget allocation, and distribution between departments and teams. So some L&D manager responsibilities here are: first, to create and execute learning strategies and programs, evaluate individual and organizational development needs, implement various learning methods company-wide. Example na ni is coaching, katong job shadowing, o online training. So part na siya sa manager, no? Then design and deliver e-learning courses, workshops, and other trainings. Then assess the success of development plans and employees, and help employees make the most of learning opportunities. And also, it helps managers develop their team members through career pathing. Then track budgets and negotiate contracts. Hire and oversee training and L&D specialists. So part pagyapan na siya sa manager na responsibilities. I guess that's it for this guide on learning and development. So we covered what learning, training, and development are. So how learning and development strategies can effectively be deployed in organizations, and different teaching methods, and we cover the topic of effectiveness. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned something from our topic. Thank you.